everyone, we are here to discuss the issue of consumer protection in e-commerce within the Malaysian legal framework. E-commerce simply refers to buying and selling of goods and services through digital platforms like Lazada, Shopee and Rakuten. Here in Malaysia, e-commerce has really transformed how we shop. But while e-commerce brings a lot of convenience, it also introduces a new set of challenges, especially when it comes to consumer protection. Some of the key issues include invasion of data privacy, warranty and return difficulties, and fraud and online scams. So, let's explore this further. Initially, the Consumer Protection Act 1999 did not specifically cover online transactions. This meant that consumers shopping online didn't have the same clear protections as they did with traditional purchases. To address this gap, Malaysia introduced additional laws to create a more comprehensive framework for e-commerce, which are the Electronic Commerce Act 2006, Consumer Protection Electronic Trade Transactions Regulations 2012, and the Personal Data Protection Act 2010. Despite these laws, several ongoing consumer issues highlight the importance of regularly reviewing and updating our current laws and regulations. This study aims to address that gap by evaluating the existing legal frameworks that protect e-commerce for consumers, identifying gaps, challenges and issues in the enforcement, and proposing potential improvements to create a safer and more reliable online marketplace. In the legislative framework, originally the Consumer Protection Act 1999 did not cover electronic transactions. However, recognizing the rapid growth of online commerce, the Act was amended in 2007 to explicitly include online transactions. Under Section 2, Subsection 1 of the Act, the law now applies to all goods and services supplied through trade, including those conducted electronically. This means that online consumers may enjoy important protections such as protections against unfair contract, the right to receive products that meet acceptable quality standards, and protections from false or misleading advertisements. Moreover, the Consumer Protection Electronic Trade Transactions Regulations 2012 were introduced to increase transparency and accountability in the e-commerce sector. Under Regulations 3.1, sellers are required to disclose important information as stated in the slides. This ensures that the consumers have all the necessary information before making an online purchase. Importantly, Regulations 3.2 state that failure to comply with these disclosure requirements is considered an offence, emphasizing the seriousness of these protections. Next, we have the Electronic Commerce Act 2006, which plays a crucial role in facilitating the legal recognition of electronic contracts. Under Section 7, electronic messages can form valid and enforceable contracts, provided that all the essential elements of a valid contract is present. The Act also recognizes electronic signatures as long as they clearly identify the signer and indicate the signer's consent to the terms and the agreement. This ensures that online transactions have the same legal validity as traditional paper-based contracts, giving both consumers and businesses confidence in digital trade. Moreover, the Consumer Protection Electronic Trade Transactions Regulations 2012 were introduced to increase transparency and accountability in the e-commerce sector. Under Regulations 3.1, sellers are required to disclose important information as stated in the slides. This ensures that the consumers have all the necessary information before making an online purchase. Importantly, Regulations 3.2 state that failure to comply with these disclosure requirements is considered an offence, emphasizing the seriousness of these protections.
Moving on, I will be addressing several critical issues related to e-commerce. While online shopping offers convenience and accessibility, it also introduces a range of legal, technical, and consumer protection challenges. There are 4 key concerns, which are the first one is privacy breaches. Privacy breaches are among the most pressing concerns in e-commerce. When consumers engage in online transactions, they provide personal and financial data to the platform. If proper safeguards are not in place, this information may be misused or exposed to third parties. Inadequate privacy protection can significantly diminish consumers' trust and deter engagement. Although encryption and other technologies are being employed to enhance data security, legal framework remain essential to ensure that companies are held accountable for how they collect, use, and store personal information. Secondly, fraud and scams continue to be prevalent in the digital marketplace. The absence of face-to-face interactions make it easier for malicious actors to deceive consumers through fake websites, counterfeit products, or misleading advertisements. Many consumers are unable to verify the legitimacy of online vendors, particularly when deception domain names are used to mimic genuine platforms. This can result in significant financial losses, and in many cases, it is difficult to recover the money once a scam has occurred. Thirdly, the policies and law of e-commerce present another challenges. Transaction often occurs across borders, raising complex questions about jurisdiction and the applicable legal authority. Currently, many online platforms develop their own privacy and transaction policies with little to no standardized oversights. This leads to inconsistencies in enforcing contracts, maintaining records, managing tax, and protecting consumers' data. Greater international cooperation and harmonized legal standards are necessary to ensure that electronic commerce remains transparent and trustworthy. So finally, warranty claims are another area of concern for online consumers. While many expect warranty coverage for high-value purchases, issues often arise due to lack of clarity regarding term, duration, and documentation. Delays in claiming process, miscommunication between the sellers and service providers, and the absence of authorized service centers in certain regions frequently lead to rejection and unresolved claims. To uphold consumers' rights, e-commerce platforms must improve communication and ensure that proof of purchase and warranty terms are clearly provided. So, while e-commerce has transformed the way we shop, it also introduced a range of legal consumers protection challenges. So, in addressing privacy concerns, preventing fraud, clarifying legal obligations, and improving post-purchase supports are essential to build trust in the digital marketplace. For this part of the presentation, I will be discussing the case of A&M Beauty Wellness Sendirian Berhad and Shopee Mobile Malaysia Sendirian Berhad that illustrates some of the key legal challenges in today's e-commerce environment. In this case, the plaintiff, A&M Beauty Wellness, is a local skincare and cosmetic company. Their products under the brand AM Professional Skincare were sold exclusively to registered members through a membership-based business model. The dispute arose when A&M discovered that unauthorized and possibly counterfeit products bearing their brand name were being sold on the Shopee platform without their consent. These items reportedly had altered packaging, missing barcodes, and were suspected of violating health regulation under Regulation 80A of the Control of Drugs and Cosmetic Regulation 1994. Despite lodging formal complaints through Shopee's internal procedures, the plaintiff claimed that Shopee failed to take adequate action. Specifically, they accused Shopee of not removing all infringing lists and refusing to disclose the identities of the third-party sellers involved. In response, Shopee argued that it was merely a digital marketplace, not the seller of the goods. It stated that it had already removed 216 out of 232 reported listings once the plaintiff had provided sufficient documentation. Shopee also emphasized that it lacks the capacity to pre-screen or automatically filter every product listing for trademark issues. The High Court later dismissed the plaintiff's application for an interlocutory injunction. The court ruled that there was insufficient evidence to prove the products were counterfeit or violated the regulations. Furthermore, it found that the plaintiff was not the registered trademark proprietor at the relevant time, and the alleged assignment of the trademark had not been properly recorded under the Trademarks Act 1976. As a result, the plaintiff lacked of local standing, or in other words, they had no legal standing to bring the claim. So this case highlights three important issues in e-commerce. Firstly, it shows how difficult it is for brand owners to protect their trademarks on open platforms where unauthorized sellers are common. Secondly, it reflects the legal limitation of holding digital marketplaces like Shopee accountable, especially when they act as intermediaries rather than direct sellers. And thirdly, the presence of counterfeit goods on such platforms can cause consumer confusion, damage brand trust, and undermine the credibility of the platform itself. Ultimately, this case reminds us that both business and regulators must work together to strengthen consumers' protection and intellectual property to and intellectual property enforcement in the online marketplace.
Now we have come into the essential part where I'll be presenting the analysis and key challenges in consumer protection within Malaysia e-commerce sectors, as well as some proposed solutions to improve the current framework. I'll break this down into three parts: the current legal analysis, the main challenge faced, and suggested solutions to improve the system. Malaysia has put in place several laws to regulate and protect consumer rights in the digital marketplace. These include the Consumer Protection Act 1999, the Electronic Commerce Act 2006, the Personal Data Protection Act 2010, and the Electronic Trade Transaction Regulation 2012. Together, this law aims to build consumer confidence and ensure fair digital transaction. The legal framework covers areas like misleading advertisement, secure online transaction, data privacy, and dispute resolution. However, the effectiveness of this law depends heavily on enforcement, clarity, and public awareness, which is where issues begin to arise. One of the key challenges is privacy breaches. Although the PDPA is in place to protect personal data, many businesses, especially small and foreign ones, fail to comply. Consumers often agree to terms without realizing how their data is used or shared. Cross-border transactions further complicate enforcement, and authorities like the JDP face resources and jurisdiction limits when addressing violations. Next, we face increasing fraud and scams. Consumers frequently report problems such as fake sellers, counterfeit goods, and under-delivered items. With no physical interaction, it's difficult for buyers to verify sellers or products. Scammers can easily disappear, and because many operate anonymously or from abroad, legal action is difficult and slow to catch up with evolving scam methods. Another major issue is jurisdictional complexity. When Malaysian consumers purchase from foreign sellers, it's unclear which country's law apply in the event of a dispute. Many platforms operate under their own rules and different standards. In contrast, tax and import law make enforcement and complaint resolution difficult. Lastly, there are warranty and return difficulties. Many consumers struggle to understand or claim warranties. Sellers sometimes fail to clearly display warranty terms, and many still require physical documents like stamped warranty cards. Coordination between sellers, platforms, and manufacturers is often weak, causing delays and consumer dissatisfaction. One of the key challenges is privacy breaches. Although the PDPA is in place to protect personal data, many businesses, especially small and foreign ones, fail to comply. Consumers often agree to terms without realizing how their data is used or shared. Cross-border transactions further complicate enforcement, and authorities like the JDP face resources and jurisdiction limits when addressing violations. Next, we face increasing fraud and scams. Consumers frequently report problems such as fake sellers, counterfeit goods, and under-delivered items. With no physical interaction, it's difficult for buyers to verify sellers or products. Scammers can easily disappear, and because many operate anonymously or from abroad, legal action is difficult and slow to catch up with evolving scam methods. Another major issue is jurisdictional complexity. When Malaysian consumers purchase from foreign sellers, it's unclear which country's law apply in the event of a dispute. Many platforms operate under their own rules and different standards. In contrast, tax and import law make enforcement and complaint resolution difficult. Lastly, there are warranty and return difficulties. Many consumers struggle to understand or claim warranties. Sellers sometimes fail to clearly display warranty terms, and many still require physical documents like stamped warranty cards. Coordination between sellers, platforms, and manufacturers is often weak, causing delays and consumer dissatisfaction.
In conclusion, while Malaysia has put in place key laws like the Consumer Protection Act 1999, the Electronic Commerce Act 2006, the PDPA, and the others to regulate e-commerce and protect consumers, real-world issues still remain. Problems like privacy breaches, scams, unclear warranties, and tricky returns shows that the gap between the law and the practice is still wide. This was seen in the case of A&M Beauty Wellness Sendirian Berhad versus Shopee Mobile Malaysia Sendirian Berhad, where the court had to consider whether e-commerce platforms should be liable for counterfeit goods sold by third parties. This case highlights the grey area around online platform responsibilities and shows the urgent need for clearer, updated laws that reflect how today's online marketplaces actually work. To truly protect consumers, Malaysia must strengthen and modernize its legal framework to keep up with the fast-paced digital economy. That is all from us today. We hope you enjoyed our presentation. Thank you so much.